Welcome guys to another episode of Boom Arena. Today we're gonna be playing with Dark Knight Fawn King, which is very solid deck. Even for this meta, I'm gonna be also using the new pirate language. I've announced it in a recent video, and our first opponent will be Ale, who's gonna be 500 medal player, and so far so good. He's gonna wait with me and yeah, he's gonna throw the bullets on my Viking tower. This is not the most optimal play. If you can find one, he's gonna also play some twins. I'm gonna counter them with ghosts. That's a very good interaction to know because it doesn't seem that it should work out, but it does, so I'm gonna obviously abuse it to the limits. And Ale looks like he doesn't want to play this game anymore, so I'm gonna just put him out of his misery as soon as it's physically possible. And with that being said, we're gonna jump to the game number 2. Pretty sad of him. I wanted to talk about the matchup, but he won't bring me any content. And we're in game number 2 against Zero Medal player. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry, buddy, but I genuinely don't know. I'm gonna play 5th on these bomb blasters. They were played a bit incorrectly because, well, you could have actually gotten away with a perfect crime if these bomb blasters were to be placed in the center of the bridge, but they were one tile off, and that's why I was able to counter them with my thief and not ghost. So a little mistake out of him. I don't think it would matter in the long run, as I'm gonna just set up my normal attack. With this deck, you pretty much can attack either in single or in double mana, but obviously like with all control decks, the double mana time is just more scary because you can play more Dark Knights and more Fawn Kings. But even in single, this combo can be very scary because you can play both these cards in the back, and you will be having enough mana for Dark Knight to tank for the Fawn King. Okay, we're gonna get a Spire Shark. Suddenly I'm getting too many low-rated players, which is like not good thing for a video. And right now I'm gonna just demonstrate how it is working. You're playing Fawn King in a very back, and then you're playing Dark Knight on this tile, so the Fawn King will push the Dark Knight forward. This time I didn't manage to demonstrate it, but usually it works like that. I'm not gonna play Thief additionally to that. I'm gonna just hold bullets in case he's having some cheesy responses to that. And yeah, I'm gonna take this mana pump, I'm gonna take this Viking tower, and we're gonna be closing this one very... okay, he's gonna defend that. We're gonna be closing this very early since my opponent doesn't have a proper deck. Also, he's throwing some pirate slurs at me, which is, well, which is normal if you're having pirate language set up as your language of choice in Boom Arena, because it's one of the most recent additions, and I definitely advise you to check that out for yourself. We're advised to plunder in the another game, and with some ghost we will start things off. We're gonna follow things with a Goliath, which is the name of Dark Knight in this language, and the 5th chief will be the another card that we're gonna be playing. So we're gonna be having a very strong push here early on. Gonna get a boycotter with our troops, and I think we will already win against this 2.6 Super Ape deck. Usually 2.6 matches very well against this deck, but like you always know, 2.6 isn't the deck I recommend for you guys to be playing if you want to get a lot of medals. It's more like a practice deck because, well, if you make one mistake, you are pretty much out of the game, and it's good for learning because, well, if you're learning, you want to be notified where you are making mistakes and how you want to improve them. But for pushing ladder, you want to like just use the decks that are very good. And that's why I'm showing this very good deck in this video. This is pretty much still a very relevant deck in this meta. Even though Dark Knight got nerfed a couple of seasons, it pretty much doesn't matter. Like the most important thing in this deck is pretty much still the synergy, and yeah, our opponent Allay will give up again, which is pretty discouraging. I wanted to have some video games, but we still, yeah, it's not a content. Right now, I'm just beating up children in video games and talking about on how good my decks are. He's gonna get a very good bullet, so I'm gonna give him that. Maybe he's not giving, he threw the spell at my Viking, so he pretty sure is, but then he's just throwing bullets out of nowhere and forced me to make another push. I wanted to honestly cut it already, but I didn't. Maybe he's gonna play on for a bit longer. We're gonna see what it's gonna mean. Obviously, like I've said, this interaction is very broken and it's very useful in many cases. If you can play ghost against twins, you definitely should. This time my ghost dies, but at the cost of 4 mana of my opponent, so it was a very good exchange. For 8 mana of his, I only played 3 and I only received 200 damage on my tower. It's absolute steal that I'm gonna take any day of the week. And yeah, I'm gonna close it very early and I'm gonna jump to the next game of the video. And right now I'm gonna be up against Holy Hell, so if I'm recalling correctly, it's gonna be a Anarchy Chess user, which is, well, one of the Reddit communities which I'm aware that exists, and it's pretty funny sometimes about what they're joking, because like we all know that chess isn't a very funny game, but yet they still manage to make jokes for I don't know how many years, but it's a long time already, about one special move that got introduced, I believe, in 18th century to prevent passed pawns from being created very easily. It's called en passant, obviously, and this community is pretty much all about joking about this move, and obviously the very famous response to advising someone on internet to Google or search in Google engine the move en passant is Holy Hell, which got pretty popular in this community and even outside of it, although I believe it's still more of influence of these people for like forcing this line everywhere it can be forced, more than like it being actually a very original response. Needless to be said, it's pretty funny line to me, and there's no reason to like being mad about it being repeated over and over again. I actually find it very hilarious that they still make the same joke over and over again and don't get bored. At the same time, we're gonna absolutely crush this dude because, well, he isn't having a good time against our Dark Knights, and we're gonna kinda abuse it. We're gonna play Fonking in the back, and yeah, I think he's gonna call quits. So let's jump to I think the last game of the video. And we're gonna be up against Robin. It's gonna be once again him. I believe he's gonna have right now a better matchup than previously, because obviously Tiny is absolute death sentence for all steelbait play ever. And yeah, right now we're gonna just try to apply some pressure on him. And another thing that is very important in this matchup, like if you're playing Dark Knight against steelbait, The thing that your opponent wants to be doing against you is playing as many cheap cards as possible and force you to play cheap cards as well. And the thing you actually want to be doing is to play troops. And even though it may sound counterintuitive because you're giving them a free damage, you actually want to be playing troops instead of spells on these phone barrels because, well, spells disappear from the board while they're being played, and troops still give you value and force out response from your opponent instead forcing the response out of you, which is what about control decks are. With that being said, we're gonna be having a very good position against Robin. He's gonna fail the Viking Tower activation, which is very unfortunate for him, and he's gonna call it quits for today. So yeah, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed this rough explanation of how to play this deck and some other topics that I've decided to talk about to make the video more interesting and versatile for a bigger audience. Let me know if you like this format or if you want me to change something. If you want to see more videos of me, obviously subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna see you guys very soon in the next episode of Boom Arena.